Welcome to another episode of Skatepark Showcase. Today, I'm on the Space Coast in Titusville, Florida, just across the bridge from the Kennedy Space Center. Let's see what the Space Coast has to offer for skateboarding. Titusville, it's a pretty cool little spot, right on the water. Woo! It's been a long, crazy day. Let's get into it. When you first pull up, you'll notice that it's a nice wide open space near the water in a little park area. And the park is not super big. It's actually a pretty small square footage, but they've managed to fit a ton of stuff in this area. And they did it without making it feel overcrowded. You'll notice there's nothing really out here that's too intimidating. Everything's a nice, decent size. Got some medium-sized stuff as well as some super mellow stuff that's great for beginners. It's kind of a really interesting layout. I'd say I'd break it up into 3 sections. There's an outer ring, a center, and a little mini ramp. The mini ramp's really nice. It's 4 foot high, probably 12, 16 feet wide, somewhere around there. It's a little bit steep, but not that bad once you get used to it. And it also flows like into the park. I didn't skate it a whole bunch because there's just so many obstacles here, but when I did skate it, I got used to it pretty quickly and it definitely wasn't that hard to skate at all. All right, let's talk about the outer elements. There's so many. I didn't even get to skate every single thing, but one of the main features that mostly everyone out here skated was the hip. It's a very interesting hip. It's pretty steep and pretty tight. You can't shoot out really far. You gotta make that rotation real quick. So it's a bit of a challenge, but a lot of fun, and everybody out here was skating it. On the other side, there is a half coin bank. That's what I like to call it. It's great for getting speed, but also fun for just doing flip tricks on. The bottom of it is a little bit harsh, like the transition into it is pretty rough, so you do have to get used to that. It's gonna jolt you a bit, and there's a lot of like dirt and sand in that area, so you just gotta be careful so you don't slip. But other than that, it's definitely very skatable and a lot of fun. There's a bunch of ledges, small, slightly curved ledges. They're not super long. There's one shorter one, one higher one. They grind really good, and I saw some guys killing them out here today. It was awesome. There's also another little grind ledge down towards the area where the mini ramp is. Didn't touch that one, but it looked solid. And on the other side, there is a super long flat rail, square flat rail. They had it nice and waxed up here, and it was a lot of fun to skate. Now we get to something that's super frustrating for me. It's the bump to bump. So there's 2 banks with a gap in the middle, and they're really hard to hit. One side, you cannot hit it from that way because you have to come from the pyramid and you just can't get enough speed because it's not big enough. So I was hitting it from the other side where I hit the coin and then head towards it. You can get in like one push. But the angle of it is so strange that for me, it was almost impossible to skate. And I was talking to some of the locals and none of them skated. They're like, yeah, we don't even touch that thing. All I got was an ollie on it. Like, tried to back 180 a bunch of times, could not get it. Slammed twice on a front side 180, and I was like, okay, I'm over it. Didn't like that at all. There's also a cool little kicker, like a mini pyramid. There's a bank on the other side of it, but everybody was just treating it just like a kicker where you go to flat. That thing was a lot of fun. Super easy to skate. I love a nice, chill kicker that's not too steep. Also, there's like this little round coin that's like a manual pad. It's barely raised up higher than the rest of the surface, and it actually leads to outside of the park. So it's kind of cool. Little gap, manual gap. Not sure why they built it, but hey, it's fun. Okay, so they have the biggest and weirdest pole jam I have ever seen. Definitely the most unique thing out here, and it shouldn't be here. I didn't see a single person skate it the whole time I was out here, and I tried to hit it so many times. Maybe only got close once or twice. I never actually got my feet on the board after coming off of it because it's way too steep and way too high. Maybe I just suck and I can't bring my feet up high enough, but that was exactly it. Like, I could not get my feet up high enough to make it over the darn thing. So it's probably the first time I've mentioned something as most unique and I wasn't even able to do anything on it. They should just get rid of it. Now that brings us to the center section, or the main section, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty much a combination of two things. There's like slightly raised up area, I guess kind of like a manual pad, but I didn't use it as a manual pad. I saw a couple other people doing it that has some ledges and stuff on it. And the other side is a little bit higher up, and there's a stair set and a whole bunch of other stuff. So let's get into it. So the smaller raised section is pretty dope. There's a grind ledge attached to it, a really long one. And then next to that really long one is a manual pad grind box. The manual pad's not very wide, but definitely skatable. On the other side of that center raised section, there is a curved grind box slash manual pad. I didn't hit it. Those are always a lot of fun if you can manage to stick with the curve. Now let's get to that raised up section. Leading up to the raised up section, there's a curved transition, but with no coping on it. So it's really strange. Kind of wish they had put a bank there. It is nice for rolling down into because you get a lot of speed, but they put a bump to bar up there, and that bump to bar, man, if it was higher, I would have racked myself so many times just trying to do a board slide on it. I was struggling. I think the 2 times I actually landed the board slide, I didn't pop. I just floated onto it. It was very strange. That raised section has a grind ledge on the left and the right. I just hit the one on the right and almost busted my butt and landed primo on a crook down it, but somehow I rode away and I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it again. That brings us to the stair set. There's a 5 stair out here. It's pretty much the perfect size you could ask for. There's just enough runway where you can get comfortably set up and get enough speed. It's not super long and not super high, so it has very solid dimensions and it feels really good to skate down. That raised section has banks going all the way around it. If you like to hit banks and curve up and do stuff like that, that's definitely out there. It's not the easiest to hit. You gotta hit it at some weird angles, but just something fun, better than it just being a flat wall. So yeah, they managed to fit a bunch of stuff in this place without it feeling like overcrowded. Like I said before, it's not a huge park, but there's so much to skate. Almost everything you could ask for. There was a whole lot of people out here. I mean, it's a Wednesday and there's a lot of people out here. I had a lot of fun hanging out with everybody, talking to the locals, and seeing them like totally shredded. So it looks like the Space Coast has a nice community of skaters. I'm not sure who manufactured this park. It's definitely not like a Team Payne park or anything, but they did do a pretty good job. Obviously there's a couple of things that I think shouldn't exist or should be something different, but all in all, like, it's a really, really fun park. It's free, it's by the water, they've got bathrooms, there are no lights, it closes at dark, but man, it's a cool little spot. If you're ever traveling through the Space Coast, definitely come hit this place up. Thanks for checking out another episode of Skatepark Showcase. Really quickly, I want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon supporters. You guys are helping keep me on the road, and I could never thank you enough. If you'd like to donate, just go to patreon.com/parksharks. As little as $1 a month can go a really, really long way. If you can't donate, that's not a problem. There are plenty of other ways that you can help support the show. You can like this video, leave a comment, you can subscribe, but most importantly, you can share it with your friends so they also will know about the channel. I'm currently on the road. I'm taking a road trip up the coast of Florida, and it has been crazy. There is going to be a documentary of my week-long road trip coming up on my channel, so keep an eye out for it. I'd released a documentary about a year ago when I went down the West Coast, so I'm hoping this one's gonna be a pretty good one. So far, it's been pretty wild. And that about wraps it up. Here's what's coming up next.